Hey YouTube, it's Jeff at Darkmoon Metals. In today's video I want to show you a handy tool that you could probably pick up on Craigslist for about 30 bucks. Here it is. This is my pipe vise. And let me tell you that this right here has become a very valuable part of my tooling collection because it allows me to do things that a regular vise won't. What some knife makers do is they'll put a block of wood inside of a vise and then clamp the knife to that block of wood. Now obviously you can't just lock the tang in here because you're going to get all kinds of up and down wobble. And that's really the downfall, the only downfall, to a vise like this. Even if your jaws are perfectly parallel and they grip nice and tight, when you have something that's an odd shape that you want to apply downward pressure to, for example if you're sanding or filing, this type of a vise just isn't ideal for that. As you can see, I have my Viking style sacks I've been working on set up inside the pipe vise. There are a couple pieces of scrap leather so the tang doesn't get marred by the jaws of the vise, but you can apply as much downward force on this as you want and you will bend the tang of this knife before this vise will ever drop the material down. It's not going to fall through the jaws because these jaws are horizontal to the ground rather than vertical. So you can apply as much downward pressure as the tang of the blade will take. Now one thing about this, yes it can be kind of dangerous if you have it hanging out here and you don't have a block of wood under it. You can walk into this if you're a klutz. However, the way I have this set up, this post is designed to come out. Some of you may have seen this in one of my other videos. Basically all I did was weld it in a piece of square stock, ground everything flush to the tabletop, and I made mounts that have square shanks on them that fit right inside. That's handy because if I want to have this removed and have a large item placed on the corner, I can do that. I can also swap this vise out for another one. I have a regular style vise, a machinist vise, with the same setup. I could just take this out, drop the other one in. The nice part about this setup though is I can do this and walk away. Now the blade edge and the point is over the tabletop and there's not a chance that anyone is going to walk into that. If you're a member of the SCA or do a lot of historical camping, you might recognize what this is. There are a lot more decorative versions out there that are made by blacksmiths, but this is my welding guy interpretation of what we call a portable hole. And to give you an example of what one might be used for, the tiki torches that have the bamboo shafts, you can't always drive them into the ground, especially if you have hard soil. So what this is a giant stake. These are 28 inches long, and there are 2 rings welded to it. So what you do is you drive this into the ground, you put your tiki torch pole inside, that way you're not going to damage the bamboo. And I have an order for 50 of these guys, and I'm going to be making 20 more to sell at this weekend's event. Alright guys, so how this works, I basically take 2 rings. One rests against the front stop, the other one rests against the back. I take my stake, I line it up so that the end is right up against the stop, and I try to make sure that it's centered. I come in with a spring clamp, apply pressure, and it's set up and ready for welding. Now that I have some welding appropriate clothing, I'm going to weld this out. Once I weld one side, I take my clamp, drop it underneath, and just roll it until I have a horizontal surface. Remove the clamp, and that's all there is to it. It's a little bit smoky because there might have been some residual oil left on these parts, but That's not too bad. So I got one pile started over there. I got more parts on the plasma cam. Those are all welded out. And I'm making two different styles. These are hexagon, and this was a custom order. Most of these points I just kind of drew out on the anvil. And then I have some square ones. And these points are just belt sanded. Alright YouTube, I wish I had more time to film today, but I have so much stuff I need to get done because we are actually leaving tonight for the event. I need to have about 70 of these completed. 50 are going to be the hex, which is the custom order, and the rest are going to be square stock. I hope that you enjoyed the video and maybe are considering getting a pipe vise or a plumber's vise, as some people call them, for your shop. They are really versatile, and I'll tell you, every time I use it, I find more uses for it. I don't think I can do some of the stuff that I do without it, because the jaws of a regular vise simply will not support against a lot of downward force. So this does fill a gap that I need filled. On that note, I'm going to wrap up the video here. Oh, and in case you're wondering, the portable holes, you see all of them in there? Yeah, I get $15 a piece for those. So I'm not getting that for the order of 50, of course. I cut them a deal because the SCA is a nonprofit organization and this is one of their local groups. But at $15 a piece, they do fly off the table, so they are worth making if you're in the society and you know how to weld. On that note, I'm going to wrap it up, and I will see you on the next one. This is Jeff at Darkmoon Metals. Take care.